to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from Springfield, Massachusetts, home of the NBA, just the Basketball Hall of Fame, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
Isn't that where the Simpsons are from, too?
They're from Springfield. It's never been determined what state. There are a lot of Springfields in America, and that's kind of the point. It's one of those towns that's in every state, so it could actually be anywhere.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed after the first movie.
No,
let us know on
Twitter. In
Twitter.
the first movie, there's a scene where, they point to, here's the states that surround Springfield, and it's Colorado, Alabama, Maine, and California. So it's these four states that aren't really close to each other.
Right.
I remember that joke. I'm not a big Simpsons head, though. I could be wrong.
So, okay, it mentions Portland, Oregon, and Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, there you go.
All right, but that's not what we're here for.
No, not at all. We're here to discuss some of our favorite NBA small forwards of all time.
Which is just a really undervalued position, I think.
Yeah, I think now especially it is. The game has changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-2000s, the small forward was the place to be.
That's just that generation, man. Thank God for that.
Long, quick, super athletic, can hit a three if you need to, but not necessarily what you're great at.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're going to talk about a lot about those guys today. We have... Starting now in February, we're trying a new bit of a format, and mostly it's just an outlining format for us to stay on track easier and keep the flow of our episodes similar. Since we cover so many different topics, we want the episodes to flow in a similar way. So we have three main parts: the intro, which is this part here that you're listening to now, and then we're going to have the 5 fundamental somethings about whatever it is our topic is. So, and actually today we have 6 because we each picked 3. So we have the 6 fundamental somethings about NBA small forwards, which are just our 6 small forwards we're going to talk about. And then at the end, the final segment is called What Would You Do? And that's questions about how we relate to the topic specifically.
Oh, and I got
We're going to see how that works.
I got feelings.
We got some good feelings. So as part of the intro, we want to describe the topic, kind of not in depth, but just a general description of the topic. So I want to start, just what is the NBA in case somebody's listening to this and has just no idea what the hell's going on. That's the National Basketball Association. It's a professional basketball league for North America, but mostly just the USA. There is one Canadian team. And basically it's the best basketball players on earth playing the best basketball, and it's super fun to watch.
Literally super fun. The playoffs in the NBA are some of the best sports you will ever see. Just absolute awesome matchups.
And I always felt that NBA players, basketball players, especially the position we're talking about today, small forwards, shooting guards, they are some of the best all-around athletes that you will come across. Maybe a football wide receiver you could throw in that, but I just feel like somebody who is this great at basketball could play any other sport and exceed at it. They're not going to go out there and play soccer and be the best soccer player, but I think they could do it. They could handle it,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They probably played 10 sports growing up.
Right. They're going to be faster than most people. They can jump higher than most people. They're longer than most people, which is an incredible attribute to have when playing sports, is just overall length of your arms and legs.
Fucking bullshit.
You don't see it enough. But receivers top out at 6'4", 6'5", maybe. You got Calvin Johnson, who was 6'7", but that doesn't happen that often.
6'7"?
I think so.
Jesus, I thought he was 6'3".
No.
They do call him Megatron for a reason.
Yeah, he's a beast. But yeah, usually your Julio Joneses, those guys are 6'1", 6'2". Your biggest receivers are point guards in the NBA, right?
Yeah, man, there really is a height disparity there.
So I think you put LeBron in the NFL.
Oh my God,
he's going to beast
dominate.
people.
He'd be a 16 sack defensive end.
Yeah.
In no time. At 18 years old, that dude would have been a 16. He would, probably a 9. He would have been a contributor on a good team.
Well, and I just think the hand-eye coordination skills and the overall coordination that it takes to be a top-level basketball player translates well to other sports, and just like being able to be in the right place and do the right thing with your body. Whereas, like, let's take Michael Phelps, who is the most decorated Olympian of all time. You put a basketball in his hand, he's not going to get the job done. I'm sorry. You put a soccer ball at his feet, not happening.
I don't know if we can say that, because, I mean, let's
Dude
look
is
at Prince.
a gangly mofo. Well, yeah,
I mean,
Prince.
Prince was
only like 5'2", though.
But that dude
He's
could
not
ball.
a gangly mofo. He could ball.
He could ball.
That dude could ball.
We can't judge a book by its cover.
Motherfucker
can ball, man.
So today, like I said, specifically we're talking about small forwards. A small forward it's the 3 position on the court. Usually played by someone between 6'6" and 6'10" is usually the top level there, about 6'10". It's a team's most medium-sized player.
That's a good way to put it. Medium-sized.
Yeah, because you're short guys, point guard, shooting guard, your biggest guys, you're putting down low on the block.
Well, and they're usually your like less scrappy players, more finesse players. I feel like that's why I feel like people that watch the NBA enjoy scrappy players, and that doesn't.
Old people definitely.
Well, I mean, I'm 27. I enjoy the shit out of that. That's great.
Ron Artest, small forward.
That is not.
Dude.
That's not scrappy. That's just violent. Like that dude.
He's also scrappy. The Bruce Bowen. There's another one. Scrappy dude.
I'm not saying there's no scrappy. No scrappy threes in the NBA. But I think that's why there's so few, like,
yeah, usually if you've got a scrappy
players.
guy that's like 6'8", you're putting him at power forward rather than small forward most of the time.
Right, he's snatching boards. That's what he's there for all day.
You're getting your Dennis Rodman on with that guy. Charles
yeah,
Barkley.
Dude. Oh, God. Charles Barkley is a hell of a ball player. Was.
And in my mind,
shit, though.
A good small forward, they can score at will by creating their own shots anywhere on the court, and usually one of the better defenders due to that unique mix of size, speed, and skill that we kind of discussed earlier. That's usually what I see as a small forward. They're not necessarily your best scorer, but they can get to the bucket if they need to, and they can usually D up, at least moderately well.
They got to hold their own for sure, but they'll hit you from mostly anywhere on the court. They may excel in the paint or at the key, but they're going to hit you somewhere if you leave them open.
Even if you don't leave them open, they're gonna get buckets.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do.
They're bucket getters.
I want to have a shirt that says "I'm a bucket getter, bitch."
I bet it exists.
Find this shirt for me.
Now I gotta look it up.
Fuck.
I could probably find I get buckets.
No, bucket getter.
Bucket
It
getter?
has to be that format.
It's gonna be like a bucket hat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll rock the shit out of that bucket
Just
hat.
get buckets. Oh, bucket getter hardcover journal. Right there, redbubble.com.
I need that journal. So today I got so many buckets. I got all the buckets journal, all of them.
I'm sure you could get it on a t-shirt. Maybe not.
Fucking
Also available
TeePublic.
spiral note. Oh yeah. It's this is on Redbubble, but I'm gonna look at TeePublic right now. But Redbubble is basically the same thing as TeePublic. While you're on TeePublic, looking at this bucket getter shirt, also buy a podcast about something merch because it's
sweet
there.
merch. It's dope.
Yeah. You get yourself a bucket getter t-shirt and the podcast about something t-shirt all at the same time.
They might cut you a deal in regards to shipping. Otherwise, it's like $18,000.
I don't know that's quite that much. It's like $24 for a solid shirt and shipping.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous, though. Oh, $24 for a shirt and shipping. I thought you were saying shipping. I was like, who the fuck?
No.
What are they charging to ship to your place, Calvin? Jesus.
I live in Australia, actually.
Nice.
No bucket getters on TeePublic. But if you want the official bucket getter t-shirt of a podcast about something can be found on Redbubble. We will make no money off of it, but somebody will. So
maybe that someone is you. Someone's like, this is my chance.
They're going to springboard to their fame off of our backs.
I mean, that's...
Shout out to the designer of the Bucket Getter journal / t-shirt. Designed by Badly Merch. There you go. Shout out to you.
Fitting.
So this is the third part of our series on our favorite players at different positions in the NBA. Nick wasn't a part of the first one. I did that with the guys from the Secret Spice of Life podcast. Pretty solid guys. We did that one on point guards back in 2018. Then Nick and I did shooting guards last year. And I am right now guaranteeing that we're going to finish the series by the end of 2021. We will have all positions done.
I'm ready for centers, baby.
I'm not. Like, that's why I don't want to finish, because I don't want to get to centers. So I'm going to talk about Hakeem Olajuwon and only Hakeem Olajuwon.
Get the fuck out of town. Pau Gasol.
He's not a center. He's a power forward.
He's a center. Magic Johnson.
Point guard.
That dude played center.
He jumped at the tip-off because he was the tallest person on their team, but he was 100% a point guard.
Well, I get that. I was just... do you know about his performance in the playoffs? I forget what fucking year, but it was his rookie year.
Yeah, he played every position, or he guarded every position, or something like that.
No, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was injured, so he came in like game 1.
Oh, that's right.
And scored like 41 points and had 12 boards and 9 assists or some crazy shit. So that counts when we go on centers. So look to that in the future, people.
Can talk about that one game only, though. Can't talk about all of Magic's accolades, only that one game.
That's fair. I will talk the shit out of that game.
All right, so let's talk about our 6 fundamental somethings about NBA small forwards. Nick, you're up first with your first small forward.
My first one was so easy it wasn't even funny. Kevin Durant.
Ooh, I did not go with the Durantula, but I like where your head's at.
What'd you call him?
The Durantula.
Durantula. Yeah. That is fantastic. I fucking love that.
I thought everybody knew that.
Hell no, man. And I spent a lot of time in Oklahoma City. My grandpa went into cardiac arrest at an Oklahoma City Thunder game.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. He lives. Just
It's good. Now we all know.
Yeah. But, I mean, Kevin Durant, that dude is a beast. He was drafted 2nd overall in the 2007 draft. And I don't know if you guys were conscious of NCAA basketball at the time, but Greg Oden was all the fucking rage at Ohio State. And
he's going to be one of my center picks.
Oh, my God, dude. Well, do you remember that play where he, like, ran clear across the court?
Took a picture of his dick and he sent it out to Twitter? Yeah, I remember that.
I did not know he did that, Calvin, but I'm glad you know that for the fans.
Google it. It's out there.
I'm good. I'm not going to Google
Google Greg Oden's dick. It's there.
You can Google if you hear Alexa in the background like, I can't find anything about Greg Oden's dick. But anyway, Greg Oden was drafted before Kevin Durant, this fucking baller, and then had knee problems nonstop. He was also
foot problems, but
no, they're knee problems.
Lower extremity.
That dude's knees are fucked. He came out after 1 season at the University of Texas, and he was selected by the Seattle Supersonics, which automatically made him one of my favorite players just because he was drafted by that team.
I love the Sonics. They had some good squads.
They really they were just fun to watch.
Yeah. Nick Collison.
I don't even know who the fuck that is off the top of my head. Not gonna lie.
He's from Kansas.
I was very, very young when I watched that.
He was on that Durant team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stayed with Oklahoma City for a while.
Yeah, I mean...
Big white guy?
I remember... Oh, okay. I remember when Oklahoma City came to Oklahoma City, and no one really knew what to do, because it's a lot of fucking, ranchers and retirees and shit. And it's like, oh, fuck, we're going to have a basketball team? And then, I mean, within a year, it was everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah, they brought a solid team, because then, 2 years later is when they got Westbrook, and then Harden the year after that. So,
I think it was the next year.
After they moved. It wasn't the first year they moved. He wasn't drafted in the first year. Because, let's see, the Gators beat UCLA in the national championship in 2007. Yeah. So he would have come out of UCLA 2007, 2008.
So no, and Durant was drafted in 2007.
Yeah. Okay. So it would have been the next year. Sure.
I mean, that's a hell of a series.
Yeah, and then Harden was the following year.
But I mean, fuck Harden. That dude's a douchebag. But Kevin Durant is incredibly awarded. Dude has won 2 NBA championships, an NBA MVP award, 2 Finals MVP awards. What's that?
He had to cheat to get his NBA championship.
Who the fuck says that?
Stupid people.
Yeah, how did he cheat? He went there and balled the fuck out.
Had to go to the team that beat him the year before. Who wants to do that?
Can't beat him, join him, son. Let me get them rings. What the fuck?
Yeah.
People are crazy,
Here's
dude.
an idea. Let me get this ring so everybody gets off my back, and then I can just play ball.
Yeah, better yet, let me get 2 of them, and then I'm gonna go
Both of them.
Literally as far as I can get away from California. I'm gonna go to fucking New York. But he's also won an NBA All-Star Game Most Valuable Player, 4 NBA scoring titles, the NBA Rookie of the Year, 2 Olympic gold medals, and he has been selected to 9 All-NBA teams and 10 NBA All-Star teams.
This dude's got accolades.
He's a motherfucking baller. With it, and something I love about Kevin Durant that people don't talk about enough, really underrated defender. Really underrated defender.
I don't know. He's not underrated in my mind, but I think the consensus is that I would agree. Nobody talks about his defense. I don't think anybody's out here saying he's a bad defender, but he's such a good scorer that just nobody even talks about how good he is on defense. He can guard any position. He's quick enough to guard small guys. He's big enough to block shots at the rim if he needs to. And his length is incredible.
Oh my god.
Wingspan, motherfucker.
Well, his balance is nuts. And he's got a 9'2" standing up and reaching. 9'2", like, reach. What the fuck is that? That is insane. That is a marvel, dude. And the fact this guy could not necessarily... He did a really good job at defending LeBron James. He gives him fits, but when LeBron decides he's going to start bodying him, there's really nothing Durant can do.
LeBron's just more powerful.
There's nothing he can do. To say. I mean, he's 270 or 260 and just solid muscle. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, Durant is just absolutely so fun to watch. He's lethal as shit, and I love the quiet little swagger he's got about him. He talks a lot of shit.
Oh yeah, especially on Twitter from burner accounts.
I mean, why wouldn't you? That's what famous people do.
Yeah, I agree. I like Durant. Really great. A lot of fun to watch. Moves so smoothly. And that's going to be kind of a theme with all my guys is a lot of the best small forwards, at least the ones I like watching, they can just move through the defense incredibly smoothly. It doesn't look like they're even trying, right?
Right.
They just get through defenders like there's no defenders there. And it's amazing to watch.
Oh, dude, it's insane. Especially
and Durant
when you
is definitely one of those guys, and then he can pull up and J over you too if he's out of 3-point line.
I've never seen so many people demoralized playing basketball than when they're playing Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
it's fucking sad. Well, especially that Golden State team: Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. Who they have?
Sean Livingston.
Adams. Oh man, Sean Livingston. That dude, Andre Iguodala. He's from my hometown.
Iggy.
Yeah.
Shout out Andre Iguodala. Yeah. Probably didn't make the list, but another great small forward.
Went to Lanphier High School.
There you go.
Pretty nice guy. Yeah, that's all I had.
Turn. All right.
Kevin Durant. Well, I had a runner-up.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Michael Jordan.
I mean, you get 3 people. Why do you need a runner-up?
I mean, because I got to pick Jordan for something.
Jordan's not a small forward.
He was for the Wizards.
Oh, my God. That doesn't fucking count.
That's why he's my runner-up, son.
Nobody on any team with Kwame Brown qualifies. Especially nobody who drafted Kwame Brown.
Hey, now.
That's your boy MJ. He drafted him.
That's my boy MJ. He's a terrible GM, owner, whatever the fuck he is. He's never been good.
Up there with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
Dude.
Another one of MJ's picks.
I think he came through the Bulls for a while. He did.
Kidd-Gilchrist, yeah.
Yeah.
But he drafted him in Charlotte first.
Yeah.
He is terrible talent scout. Actually, Kidd-Gilchrist just kind of fell in the wrong time. He got drafted as one of these like lengthy get to the bucket guys right as the league was shifting to shoot threes, and he couldn't shoot threes to save his life. So he was just like a D up slasher, and the league left him behind.
It's too bad.
I liked him in Kentucky, though.
I mean, I like pretty much everybody that goes through Kentucky.
I like quite a few of them.
They're just usually the best athletes coming into college. Jesus Christ. Jump through the gym.
My first pick can also jump through the gym, and that is one Tracy McGrady. And I know we discussed him on the shooting guards, but he has played both positions for most of his career interchangeably, so he fits here too.
I mean, I'll allow it just because it's Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, so the first time, so I didn't go into like all these accolades and real research like you did. I went with my three guys. I went why they're my favorites and what I liked watching about them.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I didn't have to do as much actual research. So
it's gonna be all the
research.
Nice dichotomy here. All the facts I gave are what I enjoy about Kevin Durant.
Well, yeah,
well,
that's
except
fair.
the opening, kind of shit he did in college. I don't really care that he was one and done and stuff like that, but
no,
that dude is poetry in motion. He's just a fun ball player. But anyway, Tracy McGrady, go ahead.
So the first time I saw Tracy McGrady really experience him was at the 2000 dunk contest that Vince Carter won. McGrady was in that dunk contest, but he didn't get past the first round. But he was instrumental in Vince Carter's eventual historic evisceration of the competition in the 2000 dunk contest.
Really was.
So McGrady on the Raptors with Carter at this time. He's also Vince Carter's cousin, so that made him the easy choice for the go-to alley-ooper whenever Vince Carter needed an alley-oop. So I think he had like 2 or 3 alley-oop dunks. So McGrady's all over those, Really set up all of these dunks that Vince Carter couldn't have pulled it off without McGrady, I would say.
Oh, I agree with that. They've been doing that shit since they were like 9 and already 6 foot tall.
Yeah. McGrady had some really great attempts on his own. He just wasn't ready yet. He wasn't there. He didn't have the crispness down to it. I think he was a rookie at the time. So he just didn't get there.
He had that. I don't think he had the hand-eye coordination quite down yet.
Are you making fun of Trace McGrady's lazy eye? Is that what you're doing? That's not cool, man.
He wasn't the finesse kind of guy quite yet.
No, and
me?
That's a lot of pressure for a rookie.
I would never.
When because he probably knows what Vince Carter has too, right? He knows every dunk that Carter's going to do. So he has to try and beat all of those dunks in his head before Carter even does them. Like, there's no way he was coming out with it.
He knew he wasn't going to beat those fucking dunks. He's like, damn, man, that's cold as shit. All right. Let's do this. I guess I'll throw you the ball and just be your ball thrower. You got to set up for what you can get, man.
My favorite McGrady time was when he was in Orlando.
Definitely. That's the jersey I had.
That was his peak athleticism. I think his actual NBA peak was in Houston for a couple seasons until he started getting hurt. But from an athletic standpoint, he was so amazing to watch in Orlando. And they had a chance to build some really great teams. Penny was still there, hurt a lot. They brought in Grant Hill, hurt a lot. They draft Mike Miller, was a great shooter, great combo piece with McGrady there. You got Darryl Armstrong running the point. They had pieces. They tried so hard, and that just never all aligned for the Magic during those 4 or 5 years.
No, it's really hard to win an NBA championship.
Yeah, and I mean it, especially when you spend money on guys like Penny Hardaway and Grant Hill, and they're constantly hurt.
I mean, the Bulls suffer from that, and it's
all on Trace McGrady at that point.
Right, and to his credit, one thing I loved about him is that dude played hard every night.
Absolutely.
Every play, that dude was hustling.
And so, like I said, my research for this episode was pretty limited. It mostly consisted watching highlight packages for the 3 guys I'm going to talk about.
Hell yeah.
And the one thing that stood out about almost every single one of T-Mac's highlights is that he beat defenders on his first step every time. It's crazy how good his first, just type into YouTube Tracy McGrady highlights, watch like the 7-minute highlight package or whatever. Everyone he gets the ball and steps right by his defender, or he pulls the ball through, steps right through his defender. Nobody could keep up with him, and that's he's just this perfect combination of length and quickness that when he makes that step, he's really 3 steps ahead of the defender, and it's so quick that the defender can't even react. And he just demolished people with it. It's insane to watch.
Well, in a man of that size, he would have been a great ball player too. Imagine him as a linebacker fucking blitzing straight up the gut right there on the line of scrimmage.
No, thank you. Dude,
he would get through the line probably 7 out of 10 times.
It kind of reminds me of Julius in Remember the Titans, right? Like that's the player you're thinking.
No, I'm thinking of like Chase Young. just coming, or Roquan Smith coming, right there on the line of scrimmage. That dude has an amazing first step. And I don't know, T-Mac knew where the fuck he wanted to go. Like, if he made a choice, he drove, and it was nasty.
Well, and people couldn't keep up with him. Like, that first step was unstoppable. And he would do it as a jab step. He would do it as a step through. He would do, like, sometimes he'd do these little spin kind of back steps, and still, like, he'd kind of like, he'd half spin, like he was gonna post up, and then he'd spin back to the first direction, and he'd just be past the defender already. Nobody could do anything about it. It's insane to watch.
Incredible balance too.
It's very difficult to describe. But if you watch one of these highlight packages, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There was also a lot on these highlight packages of him just jumping way too high to get these amazing, ferocious blocks.
Dude.
His calf muscles are no joke.
Dude.
Well, yeah, his dunks are insane, too.
I mean, he could jump through the fucking gym.
Yes, absolutely. So then he gets to Houston, and, I think, all right, this is finally going to be it. My guy's got a team. He's got Yao Ming. Stevie Franchise is there. And, in 2021, Steve Francis, Yao Ming, T-Mac sounds like just an awful team. And it absolutely would be in 2021 because none of them can shoot, none of them can move other than T-Mac. But in 2005, this team should have won 1,000 championships, literally.
Oh, man, that was after the Lakers dynasty kind of starting to peter out.
Right.
Yao Ming, he literally just
then San Antonio was still there.
Yeah, I mean, San Antonio was so fucking good.
The 7 seconds or less Suns are making their coming out party, and Yao Ming just often hurt. Steve Francis was hurt a lot and then got traded to the Knicks. But to this day, the 13 points in 33 seconds from Tracy McGrady against the Spurs to win a game, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's like Reggie Miller status.
Yeah, except this was... So they're down, I watched it again, they're down 76-68 with 41 seconds left. And they end up winning 81-80. So he gets 13 points in 33 seconds while the other team is still scoring. So Reggie Miller was like 9 points in 13 seconds or something like that. Because he hit a 4-point play, and then he got a steal, and then he got another steal. So the other team isn't even actively trying to score at that point. But he's going against the Spurs, and the Spurs are still scoring, and he's still just beating the hell out of them.
Shit's nasty.
Yeah. But he still never got there with Houston. They just dealt with too many injuries, and then his back finally gave out while he was still in Houston. Never really fully recovered from that. Bounced around the league for a while. Never could recapture that early greatness that he had in Orlando,
Yeah, I just don't think he had any knees left. That cartilage was
Well, his was all
gone.
on his back. He had back problems most of his career.
I think back problems lead to knee problems eventually.
Yeah, back problems lead to everything problems.
Yeah.
But just incredibly smooth for being 6'8". Like I said, that first step, amazing. It's like Durant. Every move he made on the court was so easy and fluid. I kind of compare him, like, do you remember Westbrook in Oklahoma City when he would cut through the defense, get to the basket, and then just demolish the rim?
Oh, just dunk the shit out of it.
Like, with the force of 1,000 bombs.
Like this dude, like this rim fucked his wife.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh my God.
That was Tracy McGrady, except he was 6'8" and could hit threes. Two things that Westbrook does not possess.
No, and he was an underrated passer too.
Very good passer. And then McGrady has the last stand in San Antonio in the 2014 playoffs. He was this close to winning a championship there. Didn't contribute at all. But Ray Allen just couldn't let him have it.
Fucking Ray. I remember watching that game live.
Yeah. So, McGrady didn't do much about it. I mean, He was on the bench, but I really wanted to see McGrady win that championship, even though it was the Heat's time. They needed to win that. Like, LeBron needed that one. I get it. But McGrady needs one, too.
That was just a hell of a game. That was a hell of a shot, man. That was one of those clutch shit. That was so clutch.
So my last couple things on McGrady are completely personal. So in freshman English composition, I had to write a comparison paper, right?
Mm.
So I wrote a paper comparing Trace McGrady to Kobe. And the assignment was to compare two things to make a point of, which thing is better at whatever you're trying to prove using evidence. Pretty straightforward. So I was trying to make the point that T-Mac was better. And by the end of it, all the evidence pointed to Kobe actually being better. If you're looking at stats, championships, wins, all that stuff. Anything that actually goes into basketball. So at the end of the paper, I was kind of just like, fuck it. Stats and wins don't mean anything. T-Mac is better because I think he is. And that's all that matters.
Your teacher was like, get the fuck out of my
He had won. That was when he was in the middle. I think he had won 2 scoring titles in a row. So like his points were better than Kobe's, but that was pretty much the only stat he let in.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to the T-Mac 2s, most comfortable shoes I've ever worn by Adidas. Thank you, Adidas. I probably said it on the last one. I got it every time we talk T-Mac. Got to talk about T-Mac 2s. And T-Mac's crowning achievement, best thing that's ever happened to him though, is I once got called T-Mac in a pickup game on like the D-level court in college. Somebody was like, "Damn, you play like T-Mac." I'm like, "What?" Okay.
Yeah, right, dude. You
got to be the greatest moment of Tracy McGrady's life.
Yeah, I was about to say, you wrote a letter to Tracy McGrady. You're like, you were compared to me today. I hope you know how you should be gracious.
You should, yeah.
And send me some more T-Mac 2s, bitch.
This was, so like, in college, there was 5 pickup courts running at once, pretty much. And there was like the A-level court that you didn't want to play on unless you were on the college team, pretty much. Then there was a B-level court. That's where I spent most of my time. Those are your second-tier guys. This was, like I said, this is like 4th or 5th level dudes. These are like, you're really playing against middle schoolers, but they happen to be 20 years old.
That would be me. I was terrible at basketball. I was
so those guys thought I was like T-Mac, which is great. I'll take it.
I mean, I am your master. You are my people.
I also played. I played in one of those games with a former NFL player, which was kind of fun. Jeremy Mincy, look him up.
Did he smoke you, bro?
No, I was on his team, but yeah, he was fucking. So he was a defensive end. He played at Florida, and then
dunked on you, son.
He was in the NFL. He won a Super Bowl with Denver. He wasn't that integral in that Super Bowl, but he was on that team. But he bounced around. He got drafted by the Jaguars and then played for Dallas for a little while and then Denver. And he started for Jacksonville for a while. But yeah, he was like 6'8", 280, like a real good defensive end. And yeah, he just smoked dudes.
Son.
He showed up and like I was the only one there sitting there waiting for the next game. He was like, he's wearing all his Jags gear. I thought I knew who he was because I knew he was from the town that the school was in.
Mm.
And so then I just started chatting with him. He's like, "You know who I am, right?" I was like, "Yeah, you're Jeremy Mincy." Like, not hard to put 2 and 2 together. He's like, yeah. And I knew some people that he knew from high school. And so I was like, "Yeah, I know this person." Oh, yeah. They didn't tell you I was good at basketball, did they? I was like, "Nope." And then he just showed out for the next 2 hours. It was great.
Did he at least sign some shit for you?
No, I didn't have anything for him to sign. He wasn't there to be bothered.
Well,
he was there to ball. Like, he's just at a fucking college pickup game. I'm not sitting there, "Hey, sign my shirt." But I did, like, I had this Arkansas, like, shooting shirt that I had wore that day from University of Arkansas. And, like, I had to hide it in my bag. It's like, "No, I'm a Gator fan, man. I promise."
It's like, you fucking better be. Empty your pockets.
All right, let's get to your second pick.
My second pick is boring as fuck.
I thought you were going to say Boris Diaw for a second there, which would have been boring as fuck.
That is a deep cut, man.
But
I
also
loved
power
Boris
forward,
Diaw.
So.
Man, he
was instrumental in those 7 seconds or less Suns teams, man.
He really fucking was. But I chose the ugliest man that's ever graced the earth. Also one of the best basketball players that's ever graced the earth.
Joakim Noah.
Nope, Larry Bird.
Is he a small forward? I feel like he's a power forward.
Nope. Definitely.
What does Wikipedia list him as?
Small forward, son.
I gotta look it up.
Small forward and power forward.
Yeah, exactly. Small forward and power forward. BasketballReference.com. All right, they don't lie.
But I mean, with the name The Hick from French Lick, how can I not pick this guy?
The Great White Hope?
I mean, it's kind of a little weird saying that out loud. Not gonna lie. Or hearing it, it's just like, man, I don't know. I couldn't trust that guy with. Either way, dude was a 12-time All-Star.
Tell listeners about Larry Bird.
He was a 12-time All-Star. I mean, that is insane. He received the MVP award 3 consecutive times. And...
Are we sure about that?
Yes. 84, 5, and 6.
Okay. I had just seen in my research that nobody had won it 3 in a row, so maybe I was wrong. Because I thought Nash won it 2 in a row, and he should have won 3rd year in a row, and he didn't.
Nope.
But
But anyway, he got paid like a motherfucker.
3-time MVP right there.
Calvin's fact checking for y'all in real time. Yeah. He's like, oh shit.
The only reason I'm questioning is because I read that thing that Steve Nash didn't get his 3rd.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't look at Larry Bird and be like, that dude is one of the biggest ballers of all fucking time. And as a bigger dude, like you said, more of a power forward. But he did play small forward for a bit. He was just an incredible
and slower dude.
He's really slow, but he could post up. He was an incredible passer and the most clutch player I've ever seen. I started getting into Larry Bird because I watched NBA fights on YouTube for like 5 hours straight one day, and he was in most of them.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so Larry Bird and Bill Laimbeer are your Mount Rushmore of NBA fights.
Dude,
you got to throw Ron Artest up there just for the one fight he was in.
Oh yeah, it was so gnarly. I mean, but fucking Larry Bird would throw hands for nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd run into him, he'd just start throwing fisticuffs, and I love it, dude. I miss some of that in the NBA. I don't want to see people get hurt for sure, but I kind of miss some of that hard foul shit, like that rough and tumble aspect of basketball. That was really what I grew up on, solely because I grew up on it, and Larry Bird epitomized it. He was tough as shit. It had a weird way. I mean, the fact that he pretty much ended his NBA career with a back injury from shoveling gravel, that's not tight. And I mean,
that's why all these guys have clauses in their contract now that they can't do like any physical labor or play any sports outside of their actual sport and all that stuff.
Man, I would totally sign that immediately. They're like, you can't ever shovel gravel ever again, but we'll pay you a shitload of money. Be like, all right, I'm there. Yep, I didn't want to shovel it in the first place. How about I pay someone else to do that with my millions of dollars? The fuck, Larry Bird. But I mean, humble guy, and just could score from anywhere and hang with really just about anyone without the physical, like, athleticism. I mean, he was athletic to an extent, but as much as, I don't know, I'm athletic on the basketball court, I'm not very nimble. I'm a hell of a football player, not a basketball player.
No, and you didn't have to be incredibly athletic in the 80s to be a great basketball player. Like, he could shoot, he was a great passer.
And he's tough as shit.
He was tough as shit. And in basketball in the 80s, you could hang out in the paint and people would mostly come to you. Like, the 3-point line existed, but people weren't taking threes like they do today. So a lot of times you weren't chasing the ball as much.
There just wasn't as much. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Trailing of the ball. There's a lot more, standard moves.
And there wasn't the player movement wasn't as intense. And that all started with Rip Hamilton on those Detroit Pistons teams of just constantly moving. And that spread throughout the league. And now everybody's moving all the time. That didn't happen in the 80s. Nobody was moving. Ever.
And those Piston teams were fucking awesome to watch, too.
The 04 championship team? Yeah. That was fun. I think we talked about Rip Hamilton on the shooting guards. I think he was one of my honorable mentions. Yeah.
But that's my pick, fucking Larry Bird.
I like Larry Bird.
Dude is a beast.
I still contend that he's a power forward, so we'll be talking about him again next time. I probably wouldn't pick him, to be honest. I didn't pick him here.
I could. Really, the defining factor for me was the fist fights, and
that's what this is all about. Is you like them for the reasons you like them. It doesn't matter if they're an all-time great. In the point guards episode, I picked Stevie Francis because I liked watching him in the dunk contest.
I mean, shit, dude. That's how I got acclimated with Larry Bird. I would have never watched Larry Bird highlights with that if I didn't start watching, because most of the time it started with a fantastic play by Bird or, thwarting of a play being made by Bird.
This weird-ass half-steal, falling out of bounds, just chucking it behind your back, perfect pass to Danny Ainge on the run for a layup. Like, that's Larry Bird, man.
I mean, it's just poetry in motion. It's the ugliest poetry I've ever seen. When
we were kids, we had this VHS tape. It was called NBA Superstars Volume 2. and there's 3 volumes
VHS.
total. Yeah, I have them all now too, actually.
On VHS still?
No.
I was
No,
about to say,
digitally.
dude, nice.
I have volume 1, 2, and 3. I haven't watched volume 3. Volume 1 is terrible, but so they would take songs, right? And they basically make music videos with highlight packages. And the Larry Bird one, I don't remember the song they use on it off the top of my head, but it's like kind of this somber song because they made it the year he was retiring. And so they've got this kind of like I Will Remember You type song, Sarah McLachlan type shit on there, as you know, you're watching all these beautiful plays that he's making, and honestly it almost brings a tear to my eye when I watch it, just the way they frame it. Watch NBA Superstars Volume 2, it's a lot of fun. Volume 3 is probably a lot of fun too. Don't watch Volume 1, it's awful.
It's fucking awful, man.
But Volume 2's got your best players. It was like 92 or 93, so it's got MJ, Barkley, David Robinson, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen's got a highlight package on there. Magic's got a highlight package.
It's a good time for basketball.
Clyde Drexler is on there. Yeah, lot of fun stuff, and the music's bad, mostly.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a given.
But they do a good job of putting it with the highlight packages in Volume 2. If anyone's ever heard of Teddy's Jam, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's a bad song, but it fits in an NBA Superstars dunk compilation.
That sounds like a
Dominique
good homemade
Wilkins got
jam
one.
from, the farmer's market or something.
That's a jam. Oh, jam.
Got the jam.
Teddy's Jam for me.
Fucking Jeremy Jam. Get jammed.
All right, so my next pick, we just mentioned him. Your boy, Scottie Pippen.
The second ugliest man on the face of the earth.
No, man, have you not seen Joakim Noah? Seriously?
Dude, I'm a Bulls fan, son. I've seen Joakim Noah. That dude he's pretty fucking ugly.
There we go.
But Scottie Pippen, man, holy shit. He's had a lot of work done. He's had a lot of he's definitely some veneers put in.
So everyone gives Michael Jordan all the credit. He deserves it. Like, I'm not trying to take that away, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you 100%. Scottie Pippen.
I don't think it's 6 without Pippen. If Pippen's not there, it's not 6. Because it was
Jordan
0 before Pippen got there, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. But
and a lot of that's on Phil Jackson, too.
Phil Jackson was a hell of a fucking coach. I'm sure everyone listening to this probably watched The Last Dance. That really epitomized how great Pippen was. But I remember growing up, my dad, huge Bulls fan. I was a huge Bulls fan growing up. He would always say, if Jordan's the number 1 player, then Pippen's the second best player. And it's like, yeah,
He's not wrong. When Sports Illustrated did their 50 greatest players of all time, he was in the top 50. Deservedly so, obviously. And let's not forget that when Jordan retired that first time, Pippen still dragged the Bulls to the playoffs, had an MVP-level season, almost made it to the finals. The Shaq and Penny Magic stood in their way, and that's a tough duo to get past.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, he's fucking amazing. And this is what I like most about him, is he was the first true point forward. A lot of people say it was Magic, but he was really just a tall point guard. He didn't play the forward position that much. Yeah, there was that one game where Kareem was out, but
no, he played center in that game.
He was Magic was strictly a point guard. With Pippen, he's gonna grab your board and bring the ball up and run the offense. And it's also just he can run it from any spot on the court, and that's why Phil Jackson's triangle offense works so well. It doesn't work without an excellent passing forward. You can see that with Pau Gasol. You can see it with Rick Fox with those Laker teams.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I mean, incredibly smart ball player, great passer, great defender, underrated defender.
Well, and I think that's a big part of the reason that the Bulls struggled to get over the hump before Pippen got theirs is they couldn't run a good enough offense with just Michael Jordan doing everything. They needed something to take the pressure off him, and Pippen was that.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
And Pippen could bring the ball up and let Jordan get to where he needed to be more effective. And if Jordan's getting doubled, then Pippen can beat his guy anytime.
Well, I mean, if Jordan's getting doubled, Pippen's having a triple-double.
Yeah.
Or almost a triple-double every fucking time.
And the same thing with Trace McGrady, same thing with Kevin Durant. He's big enough and quick enough to guard whoever the other team's best player is, regardless of their position. And I think that's kind of what puts him in the point forward is he can guard center through point guard if he needs to. It doesn't matter. He's bringing the ball up. Their quote unquote point guard was Steve Kerr, who did not bring the ball up most of the time. Like Steve Kerr's role is to go stand in the corner and wait to shoot a three
Yeah, pretty
because
much.
Pippen or Jordan got trapped at the bucket and are kicking it out. I mean, Steve Kerr's a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but he wasn't the primary ball handler. That was Pippen, and this is why, because he was better at it.
Dude, he just also, I think everybody we mentioned so far has the same thing in common, and they're just like fascinating
Well, not
to
Larry
watch
Bird.
move. I mean,
Larry
he's
Bird is
to a
not
degree.
fascinating to watch move.
Bet it's like watching a tortoise beat a hare. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
this
literally
sounds fascinating.
beat them down into the ground.
With his fists.
Yeah, and he's just
Dude,
he's
he was hard as fuck. Not gonna lie, I would not want to fuck with Larry Bird.
Pippen
He'd
was
be
the,
like Buzz Aldrin knocking
I'm trying
that
to
one
make
dude
a
in the
point
chin.
about Scottie Pippen here, man. We're over Larry Bird.
You may be over Larry Bird. I'm never over Larry Bird.
So Pippen, he's this precursor to the mostly positionless basketball that we see now, where people like Ben Simmons can come into the league and be point guards because it doesn't actually matter what your position is listed as. The 5 best players are on the court all the time, and that's what these Bulls did. They made sure their 5 best players were on the court. It didn't matter what they were listed as.
What is Ben Simmons, like 6'5"?
6'10",
He's 6'10"?
pretty sure.
Shit.
Maybe 6'9". I think he's listed as 6'9". 6'11".
Jesus Christ, he's playing point guard, dude.
The
Holy
Yank.
fuck.
That's what they call him, apparently.
It's a terrible name.
Yeah,
That-
just
I wouldn't be happy to be called that.
no, not at all. Who you got next?
I got
Larry Bird
motherfucking. I mean, dude, I got Barry Bird. It's that one
Brent Barry?
play.
Rick Barry?
What's that?
I said
mean,
Brent
yeah.
Barry? Rick Barry?
I mean, all the Barrys.
All the Barry brothers.
John Barry? No, I got Paul Pierce though.
Ooh,
The
that's
motherfucking
interesting.
truth.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I was a huge fan of
I'm
those
gonna need you to
Celtics
share your
teams.
work here. Yeah, apparently you're a Celtics fan.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But they've had a lot of really fun players to watch over the years.
I
mean,
won't disagree with that.
I still love watching Rajon.
Love Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo. I don't normally say his first name often. It's usually just Rondo.
Could be Rajon. Could be Rajon. Could be Rajon. I usually go
Rondo.
Rajon.
I just call him
Rajon.
Rondo.
I think I go with Rajon Rondo.
But I go with his teammate, Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce is who we're actually talking about. Shit his pants in a game. Let's just get that right out on Front Street.
I didn't even have that down. Oh, that's fantastic that you contributed to that. Thank you.
There we go.
Freaking shit his drawers during a game.
He admitted it too. Just recently, I think it was last season during the bubble. He finally copped to it.
And then his wife came out 2 days later and was like, I'm divorcing this dirty ass. He's nasty.
That's what we'll see in 12 years. Lamar Jackson will be doing the same thing with his playoff game he just had. I had to go take a shit.
That video that came out, it's like moving
turtle
the
walk?
dude out of
Yeah.
the way.
100%. Like that
He
turtle
had
walk
to
can
shit.
only be, I gotta go take a shit. Get out of my way.
Any
We've all done
dude.
the I
yeah.
gotta take a shit turtle walk, Lamar. It's okay.
It's like I ate something nasty. Gotta go take a shit. It's just unfortunate at that time. I mean, Pierce, that's how dedicated he was, though. He just shit his drawers. He didn't give a fuck. He probably didn't mean to do it on purpose.
No,
but-
yeah, I think he got like hit in the stomach or something.
He's like, oh, fuck. He was. I don't really think Paul Pierce ever got the love he deserved. I think he was always on usually pretty bad teams until Garnett and Ray Allen came along.
Yeah, I think
Then
his
they
best
became-
teammate before that, Ricky Davis maybe,
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff Green. I don't know.
not the greatest. Kind
No.
of the situation that a lot of other players have faced. If the rest of their team's down or their one other decent contributor's down, they just gotta fucking do it all. And he wasn't the best defender, but the way that dude could score was just fun as hell. So fun. But I gotta say, his ability to hit the three was my absolute favorite thing about him. Is he nailed that shit at some of the most clutch times. It was so killer.
He is very good at being. He's kind of like Joe Johnson, right? He's great. It's great if he's the best player on your team, but you're not making the deep playoff run with him being the best player on your team. He needed
like
Garnett.
Melo.
He needed Ray Allen to spread the ball out. I think Melo's technically better, especially offensively. I think Melo's a better scorer. Paul Pierce could probably play better defense. But even in Boston, it didn't seem like he really got the love that he deserved. I think once they started winning championships, people warmed up to him. But I think he got a lot of hate. And Boston's a tough city to begin with, just like from a fan standpoint of like if you're not winning championships, you're useless. So being the best player, I think they always thought he should do more. But in my mind, it's like the same thing with MJ in Chicago. Is like he couldn't do it all. No matter how great he wasn't going to be able to do it all on his own. He needed someone there to take pressure off of him.
It's a team game, team sport.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact this dude was a 10-time NBA All-Star, that fucking says something. And I mean, he was absolutely. The Celtics wouldn't have won that championship without him. I don't think Garnett and Ray Allen could carry that team in their, background of.
I think that would be an interesting what if case.
That'd be fascinating.
With Rondo, Allen, and Garnett, and let's say somebody who's one step below Paul Pierce, Quentin Richardson.
Who was their center?
Kendrick Perkins.
The backup.
Brandon
the redhead.
Bass?
No.
Big Baby Davis?
Was he the backup?
He was in there. I hate Glenn Davis so much.
Did you say you hate him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an asswipe. He's a fucking asshole.
You don't think Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, we'll keep Kendrick Perkins there as the center, and instead of Paul Pierce, you've got Quentin Richardson as your
Kendrick Perkins was the Thunder center, I thought.
Later. He was on these championship teams first.
I did not mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. So you think Quentin Richardson subbed in for Paul Pierce, they're still not winning?
No.
Even somebody more like DeMar DeRozan, like that kind of, which is kind of where Quentin Richardson falls now.
Absolutely
I think
not.
They still could win.
I think it was the perfect storm because Paul Pierce had been there for so long.
Yes.
Like you said, once they started having some serious success, I think the people of Boston were just like, all right, he's our side, he's our fucking leader.
They embraced him after that, and they're like, yeah, we always had your back, Pierce.
Right. I mean, he'd been there forever, and it's something that they're kind of a blue blood type city. They.
He's an interesting case, too, because he transcended eras, right? So he's there in the early 2000s run and gun flashy era, and then he continued to have success. I think I would say 2008, 2009 is that breaking point where we started getting into analytics. Let's look at threes. Let's start shooting more threes. It's not just about speed and getting to the hoop.
Or just big men in the paint.
Right, and big men in the paint. It's let's spread the ball, spread the floor, get shots up. And that came with the Suns mostly, but he was still effective.
I love those Suns.
After that time. Oh, we're gonna talk a lot about the Suns when we go to power forwards.
It's fucking happening. And I think that's why he was able to stick around in the league for so long. Because, I mean, he had like a 16-year career.
Yeah.
That's a long time in the NBA being an active player. And something I had no idea until I started doing my research is this motherfucker almost didn't play basketball after 2000. September of 2000, he was stabbed 11 times in the face, neck, and back, and had a bottle smashed over his head while at a nightclub. Still went on to start 82 games in the 2000-2001 season. Dude's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
What's he do? Oh my god. I mean, a team now, if he did that shit, they'd cut him in the hospital. They'd send an executive in and be like, you're fucking cut, bro.
It wouldn't even take a minute. There'd be a Twitter release of, we know about the situation. We're learning all the facts, but he is not part of this team as of right now.
Yeah, he's dead to us. Who? Paul who?
Sacramento would pick him up, and they'd win a championship.
Oh, immediately.
Shout out to Aaron Fox.
I like the Kings. They're scrappy.
Yeah, I agree. All right, final one. Hasn't been mentioned yet. How could we make it this far? It's LeBron James.
LeBron James. I think we've actively avoided mentioning LeJames Bron.
Yeah. He's LeBron. I don't know that I need to say anymore, but I will because I have a lot to say.
Oh, man.
He's LeBron. All right, so now to our next thing.
That dude is literally watching magic happen on your TV. He is so incredible. Okay,
anybody who doesn't appreciate LeBron needs to just shut the fuck up. Like, you're stupid 100%. If you're going, oh, well, MJ's better. Or, well, he had to go to Miami. Blah, blah, blah. Like, shut the fuck up. You're stupid and don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, I'm a diehard Bulls fan. I've mentioned that 5 times on this podcast alone. It's still contention for me. I will never say that LeBron James isn't at least up there. It's a personal thing for me. Of course, I'm going to say MJ is the best of all time. But if I looked at it objectively, I was going to say LeJames Bron. I say that to fuck with my wife, but LeBron James is the best basketball player of all fucking time. And
it's fine. What we saw with LeBron early in his career is what we're now seeing with Patrick Mahomes. He is just the most. And if the Cavs even cared one little bit about building a team around him, they could have won every single championship, but they didn't. They were like, we've got LeBron, that's all we need. And we might see this with the Chiefs in a couple years because they've got to start paying people like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and their offensive line. And they can't do that with Mahomes' huge contract. So it's going to be interesting to see if Mahomes can still get it done. I think he can because I think a quarterback can influence a game more than a single player in an NBA game can.
In any sport.
But he is the most talented, skilled, coordinated, and
physical specimen.
Yeah, he's got the highest IQ. He's got the intensity. He's got leadership. He's got the best skill and strength at any place on the court than any basketball player anyone's ever seen in their life. And anyone who argues is wrong.
Dude's averaged like 24 points a game, 9 boards, and 6 assists, and 1.2 steals since he was 18 years old. He's like 30. What is he? 38 now?
Came in 2003. No, he's 36. He was
36?
18 in 2003 when he was drafted. It's 2021. And technically 2021, but I don't think he's hit his birthday yet, so I think he's 36.
Shit, dude. He's still. I mean, I wouldn't even say he's lost a step. He's changed his game.
Yeah, he's changed his game.
But
the steps he's lost have been by his own will, right? He's changed his game to play differently in the same way Tom Brady does.
Just a less physical approach, more longevity, I think.
Yeah.
Because those early in his career, that shit was killing him.
Yeah, it's load management. Everything he does now is load management. And when they were coming into the league, I would argue like that I liked Melo better. I think just because I saw him more playing for Syracuse,
Yeah.
And then as soon as like a year after that 2003 draft, I was like, okay, no, it's LeBron. It's LeBron. It's fine.
Oh, well, I mean, fuck, I just remember being at the doctor's office and picking up a magazine when he was in high school, like the North Irish or something, and I saw him on the cover and I started reading it while I was waiting to get my like routine checkup, and that's the first time I heard about LeBron James. And what cemented this cat as one of the best ball players, if not the best ball player of all time, was when they were playing the Bulls in the playoffs during Derrick Rose's MVP season. And Derrick Rose was tearing the shit up. Oh, man, he was killing it. And then they put LeBron James on him, and it was over. Derrick Rose just was completely eliminated from the game. It was incredible. I've never seen someone shut down so thoroughly, so morally demoralized. It was incredible. Derrick Rose lost the will to play ball for like 4 years after that shit.
And he could do that to any player on the court at any time. He could literally do anything on the court, and there's nothing he could do that would surprise me. Like, it would surprise me, and I would be awestruck, but it wouldn't surprise me that he could do it, right? I could be like, yeah, okay, I buy that.
Oh, dude, when he traverses the entire court to smack a ball out the backboard while someone's going up for an easy fucking layup.
The chase down blocks were so much fun. I'm sad we don't get that anymore. That was one of my favorite things to watch, and I kind of forgot about it until you mentioned it. But those
God,
were so fun. Like that first Cavs run, that was all he was doing, right? Is he was dunking hard and chasing down every possible block he could from the full court.
I mean, he was playing his ass off. He not only was he the most athletic person most physically gifted person on the court, most high basketball IQ, like you said, and just the most talent. That dude is so good. And I think one thing that he's kind of slowed down on is the theatrics, because he was just a whole persona in Cleveland. Like, he was their, GDP. He was their
he was everything.
He was their entire economy. So I mean, he played it up, and he's gotten a lot quieter in his Lakers role, because Anthony Davis can absolutely be a centerpiece of a team, and LeBron can just hang out until his son is in the NBA, and then he'll retire.
So the point I think I want to make here is that LeBron has had more or less 3 phases of his career. You could maybe count 4 if you want to count LA separate, but I don't really think you need to. So phase 1 is early Cleveland, right? Those are LeBron's first 7 seasons in Cleveland. He's absolutely amazing. We talked about it. The ferocious dunks, the chase down blocks, attacked every single game with ferocity and intensity on both sides of the ball. Other players, if I was playing the NBA, I would have been legitimately scared to play against him.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Just go back to his highlights and look at some of those dunks between like 06 and 09. It's aggressive.
Dude, it's like watching a leopard play basketball. It's ridiculous.
A leopard
He's 6'8",
that can
260.
Like, imagine if they made Air Bud, but with a leopard. That's what LeBron was.
A hungry one.
Yeah.
And that dude could probably run. I bet he could probably run a 4.40.
Yeah, in those years, yes. I don't think he could right now. 06,
I bet
definitely.
he could turn the burners up.
I think he could.
He's
I don't
at
think he's running 4.4. Yeah. But the problem in that early Cleveland is, as I said, the organization did not give one single shit about building a team that could actually help him win.
No, the second best player for the most part was like Varejao or some shit.
Austin Varejao. I had the 2 best players for those first 7 seasons was Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Mo Williams.
I fucking love Ilgauskas.
Anderson Varejao's up there. Those are the 3. And they're
just
not good enough.
And the hair.
Yeah. They're just not good enough. And he dragged 5 of those 7 awful, shitty teams to the playoffs. They only missed the playoffs in his first 2 seasons. That's it.
They basically just hooked dead corpses to him, just literally inanimate objects that weighed upwards of 230 pounds to LeBron James. That were like, go play. He's like, all right.
Delonte West, Boobie Gibson, Eric Snow. Like, come on, I can name these Cavs players all day.
Delonte West, that poor bastard.
Yeah, he's having some rough times.
He's doing better now, thanks to Mark Cuban.
I've seen that.
What a good guy.
I don't know how anyone could have blamed him for leaving in 2010. The Cavs did nothing to help him, and he knew it, and they knew it. Like, they didn't give a shit.
No, absolutely not.
So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is clearly the Miami Heat. I got a conspiracy theory on this that goes back to what I just said. So during the 2009-2010 playoffs, some sideline reporter asked him some question. Don't remember what it was. But I remember distinctly he talked about he was going to change his number from 23 because it was disrespectful to Michael Jordan. And he said he was probably going to go with 6 as an homage to Dr. J. And this is the first time that he's full of shit on some level, because it's disrespectful to wear MJ's number, but not Dr. J's, who literally revolutionized the game. Like, MJ is great, but Dr. J literally revolutionized the NBA.
So did Michael Jordan. He put the NBA on the map. You got to admit that. It went to an international sport. It became popular internationally with Michael Jordan. So there's that facet for sure. But I think he was just wanted to play basketball. That was someone I respected the fuck out of LeBron James for. Is he's a humble dude. He married his high school sweetheart. You never hear about him in the tabloids. He, starts schools and does good shit.
He's not out there dating Kardashians. Looking at you, Ben Simmons.
Dude.
So, all right.
Not like Chris Humphries.
I'm still on my conspiracy theory here. So he announces he's changed his number from 23 to 6. But that's all he says. And, people kept asking him about if he's staying in Cleveland, if he's not, and he wouldn't respond. But do you know, in 2010, what numbers had been retired by the Miami Heat?
Of course not.
Okay, I do. It was 33 for Alonzo Mourning, 13 for Dan Marino, and 23 for Michael Jordan. Heat at this time didn't have a ton of accolades on their own. So 23 is retired in Miami. He can't go to Miami and wear 23 without paying some fine or blah, 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 all this other shit. And I think now they've also retired either 5 or 50 for Juwan Howard, but I could be wrong on that. But at the time, it was 33, 13, and 23. Only one of those
Michael
people.
Jordan?
Huh?
Why Michael Jordan?
Why not? I don't. Why Dan Marino?
I mean...
Dan Marino doesn't even play the same sport.
But it's Florida, though. I mean, I get that.
He never won a championship or anything.
He's still in Miami.
So LeBron knows if he goes to Miami, he can't wear 23. It didn't matter what happened in the rest of the playoffs. LeBron was already plotting his move to Miami. He knew ahead of time. He's telling them, he's dropping these breadcrumbs. That's always been my conspiracy theory, that he knew that he was going to Miami way before he ever announced it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so let's talk about his actual time in Miami. I think that's exactly what LeBron needed. He got that championship monkey off his back. He ushered in the era of the super team, which I think is great. I love the super teams. Like, let's get all the fucking good players on the same teams.
I mean, that's when you get the best playoff basketball of all fucking time.
Right.
Watching him, Dwayne Wade, oh my God, Chris Bosh play. Oh, dude, Ray Allen. That was such a good team.
This is why people like watching All-Star games, because it's awesome to watch the best players playing together. And now this happens in every single game because the players realize that they have all the power and know how to put themselves in the right positions to maximize their team's potential and their own potential. No one wants to watch Charles Barkley or Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp toil away in mediocrity because their teams never tried to build the best team they could. They're like, we got one guy, we're good, and they stopped.
We're getting paid.
Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to watch Tracy McGrady play for Orlando and just drag this team to the playoffs but get bounced in the first round every year. That's terrible. Give him a fucking teammate.
It's demoralizing.
Bring Kevin Garnett to Orlando with Tracy McGrady. Let's watch that team.
Dude, I feel like Kevin Garnett would have fought everyone for Bonnie and Tracy McGrady. He would have been, that's my guy.
I just made up that fantasy team and it would have been awesome.
Dude, that would have been fucking amazing. I mean, I think Kevin Garnett is one of the best centers of all time.
He's a power forward, sure.
Center and centers. You get what I'm saying.
And I think that LeBron would have been Tracy McGrady if he stayed in Cleveland. He would have kept getting better and better, and his team around him would have kept getting worse. They were fine just having LeBron. They weren't making any free agency moves. They couldn't because nobody wanted to go to Cleveland anyways. I think they brought in what's his name? Anton Jameson. That was their biggest free agent signing in LeBron's years. Anton Jameson. At the twilight of his career, in his 9th season, they bring in Anton Jameson.
I don't even remember who the fuck that is.
He's a solid player. He played for the Wizards most of his career. Your boy MJ's team. But they brought him 08 or 09, and he's a power forward. He was fine. Carlos Boozer is another one where they drafted him and he was fine, but he wasn't turning the needle on any of these things. They needed actual good players. In Miami, LeBron got the best chance at winning every year in an organization that was going to do as much as they could to make sure they got to the finals every year. Every year they brought in more talent. They brought in people like Mike Miller. They brought in people like Andre Iguodala this year even. They kept going after free agents. Even though they had 3 of the best players in the league, they brought in Ray Allen's, Mike Miller's,
I mean, they gave Eric Spoelstra
yes.
some shit to work with.
Exactly.
And
Cleveland was making money off LeBron, whether they won championships or not. They didn't give a shit any further than that.
No, I mean, I would have went to Miami too. He wanted to win a championship. Spoelstra, the Heat, Pat Riley, they all wanted to win.
Well, he knew that the comparisons to Michael Jordan ended at world championships. Which is a shitty argument too. That's not an argument. That's you don't actually have any good thoughts, so you're just gonna say something that you think is gonna end an argument, but really it's not profound in any way, and it takes no thought to say that.
That's what everybody knows.
Right.
I think LeBron James would have bodied Michael Jordan.
Oh, absolutely. One-on-one, there's no way Jordan can beat LeBron. I'm sorry.
I think he would have just bodied him.
Yeah.
He's physically he's one of the most incredible human beings I think I've ever seen. Jordan he had to work at it. LeBron could have played his entire career without working at it.
Yeah. And we see that with Carmelo Anthony.
Fuck Carmelo Anthony.
But LeBron chooses to work at it, and that's what makes him great. So now we're in phase 3, ring chasing. And here's conspiracy theory number 2. LeBron was always going back to Cleveland after his contract in Miami was up. He was always going back to Cleveland. And by leaving, he actually gave the Cavs the best chance to put together the best team possible because it worked. Over the 4 years LeBron was in Miami, Cleveland had 3 number 1 draft picks. They only completely whiffed on one. That's Anthony Bennett. And they had 7 first-round picks total in those 4 years. They had 2 fours, which they got Tristan Thompson, Deion Waiters with. They had a 19 and a 24, which were like not anything to really sneeze at. But the other 2 number 1s were Andrew Wiggins, which eventually got traded for Kevin Love, so that's a value pick, and Kyrie Irving, which directly helped LeBron win playoff games.
Pretty much. And I cannot believe I completely forgot he was drafted by the Cavs.
Kyrie Irving?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was Anthony Bennett.
I remember Anthony Bennett. I remember that one. Remember Andrew Wiggins, too.
Yeah. But LeBron knew he was coming back with the team he needed to win a championship with, and that was the only thing that mattered. He was coming back to Cleveland. They had put together the pieces that they needed. They had 2 number 1s that they could trade to Minnesota to bring in Kevin Love, and he had the team to win. He knew he was coming back. And I think he's in the same place in LA. He's only there to win as many championships as possible. And LA will continue to do whatever they need so that keeps happening. I think if he stayed in Cleveland, you could already see that Cleveland wasn't going to make any more moves to make them better. They reached their limit. And him and Kyrie had the falling out and everything like that. They were done actually putting good teams together. He had to leave again.
Well, they'd given up, man. They got over the Golden State Warrior hump once, and otherwise I think they were just defeated.
Well, Cleveland as an organization didn't need it. Gibson didn't need it. Like he doesn't care about winning championships. He was happy he got that one, and that's all he needed. He filled the Quicken Loans Arena. He's good. He's good toiling away in mediocrity now. I don't think LeBron's going to retire until he's got 7 rings. He's close. He wants that, and he wants to play with or against Bronny, his son, which I don't think is that far. I think he's like 3 years away if he can stay in the league.
Oh, dude, he'll totally be. He could probably be like Brady, man. I could see LeBron playing till he's 42.
If Tracy McGrayson can be on the bench of that 2014 Spurs team, LeBron James can be on the bench of the LA team in 2024.
Easy.
Yeah. And I think that would be pretty cool. That's never happened in the NBA. It's only happened in the MLB with Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. So I think that would be a cool thing to see.
That would be really tight, especially for LeBron.
Yeah, he's also been incredibly lucky to never be seriously injured.
Oh, dude, I think that speaks to his freak athleticism and
his training regimen. Yeah, and just like all he cares about is winning basketball games and being the best basketball player he can be, and that goes with his load management and his cryo chambers and all this other stuff. I know he was out a lot in 2018, but I think that was load management. I think he knew their team wasn't good enough to get to the playoffs or make it far in the playoffs. So he sat one out so they could go full steam at 2019-2020 when Anthony Davis came to town.
You're damn right.
I think if they had a shot to make a run in the playoffs in 2018-2019, he would have recovered just fine.
Oh, yeah, I think it was a gelling period.
Yeah. All right, so final segment here. What would you do? Nick, who is your favorite current NBA small forward? You can't pick Kevin Durant or LeBron because we already talked about them.
Well, you didn't tell me that ahead of time, so I picked LeBron James.
Oh, well, you can pick LeBron, I guess, then.
Well, I mean, for all the reasons we just said, I love watching LeBron play. Ever since, he beat out Derrick Rose and made him look like a bitch. Dude, he fucking destroyed that man.
I remember it.
Well, I don't think most people remember it as a, not a diehard LeBron and or Bulls fan. That's what did it for me. And James Braun may very well be the best of all time.
He is. Do you have anybody else off the top of your head that's not LeBron or Durant?
Nope.
All right, cool. So mine, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That was the best pronunciation of his name.
Thank you. I've been practicing for like 8 years.
In parentheses, by a white guy.
That's not
heard.
being paid by the NBA to say his name.
Even they fuck it up.
Yeah, they do.
He's. I didn't want to pick him because I know you picked him.
Yeah, I love Giannis.
So fun to watch.
It's a lot of the same things as McGrady. He can't shoot quite as well, but he's just incredibly smooth for being so big and so long. I think he's over 7 feet tall now. He can get to the bucket whenever he wants, and he's got the frame of a gazelle.
Literally.
Yeah, the Euro step dunk from the 3-point line will never not be fun to watch, and no one can stop it. Because no one thinks who thinks he's going to take a Euro step from the 3-point line and dunk it?
Not me.
No. He's top-notch defender when he needs to be. If he, this is what they've been saying about him for 8 years, but if he gets a jumper, he's going to be a perfect basketball player.
He's been in the league for 8 years?
I believe so. That sounds right.
No fucking way. I still feel like he's 22.
Drafted in sometime 2013, 2014. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is his 8th season.
So he was basically 18 when he came in. 19.
Yeah, because he came from Greece. He had professional.
He's still fucking 20.
Dropped to the number 15 spot in the draft, which was stupid.
He's still probably grown.
Let's look at the 2013 draft real quick and just go down the 14 people who were drafted in front of him.
Hit me.
Let's see. Anthony Bennett, number 1, Cleveland. Oladipo, I'll give you that. Oladipo's a good player, and you had film on him from college. He was great in college, so like I think you got to go with Oladipo over Giannis because you don't know anything about Giannis. Otto Porter, not a great pick.
This one's egregious. This next one.
Cody Zeller, not great at all. Alex Len, Nerlens Noel, who everybody thought was going to be what Giannis actually is, and I'm pretty sure is out of the league. Ben McLemore, who's like a fine player. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, again, another fine player. Trey Burke, who is 5'8" and can shoot threes, and that's about it.
Yep.
CJ McCollum is probably, at this point in their careers, the only person that you could defend saying, yeah, I should take him over Giannis. He's a little bit more well-rounded. You can do more with him because he can shoot. He can space the floor. Giannis is a better player, obviously. But I think like if you're saying, okay, we're redrafting 2013 in 2021, knowing everything we know, if somebody takes CJ McCollum over Giannis, you're looking at him with a little side eye, but you're also like, all right, he can J it. It's okay.
It's all right. Dude, I'm looking at who the Bulls picked.
Michael Carter-Williams from Philly, Steven Adams to OKC, Kelly Olynyk, and Shabazz Muhammad from UCLA at number 14. Then we get Giannis.
Fucking the Bulls took Tony Snell at 20. The dude sucked.
I mean, who are they gonna take? Gorgie Deng?
Yes.
They got Noah. They don't need Gorgie Deng in 2013.
Fucking Mason Plumlee. Could have got Tim Hardaway. Fucking Rudy Gobert. Yeah. I gotta stop looking at this shit. But yeah, Giannis. He's that dude.
So are you paying attention to this NBA season at all?
Slightly to the Bulls because they changed their entire front office and are playing some decent basketball.
Nice.
But outside of that, not much. I usually tend to tune in like 2-3 weeks before the playoffs come into the picture.
So I'm in the same boat very slightly. Like if a game's on, I'll kind of pay attention and I'll see shit on Twitter every once in a while. I don't really pay attention to the NBA until after the NFL season is over. And that usually coincides with the All-Star break pretty closely, which is my favorite part of the NBA season. So I'll watch All-Star break and then pretty much everything. There's like, a month or so leading up to the playoffs at that point. So that's usually when I get locked in on it. So what do you think? How do you think this season plays out? Who you got in the championship?
Lakers in 5.
You're already way wrong about the NFL Super Bowl, so.
I did call. What did I call? I called Packers.
No, you said Green Bay and Buffalo. Yeah.
In the Super Bowl, I thought I said Chiefs, Green Bay.
Maybe you did. You were standing for Buffalo for a little while though.
No, my wife and I decided they're our second favorite team now.
That's fine. I like Buffalo.
They're solid.
They're just not better than the Chiefs.
No, I'm calling Lakers in 5. Though.
Lakers in 5. I agree. I don't know if it's in 5. No idea at this point. I think they win the title again. I think there's way too much going on with the best teams in the East and the Warriors aren't fully back yet. So in the East, you got the Sixers, who were fighting off rumors of getting blown up all offseason and don't seem like they're doing any better this year than they did last year. The Celtics keep getting trade rumors thrown around about their two best players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I don't think they'd ever move Jason Tatum, but there are a lot of trade rumors about Jaylen Brown. And the Nets just have too many new pieces that I don't think we know how they actually fit together. With Kyrie, Harden,
Harden's a cancer, man.
Durant, yeah. I like the Suns are a nice dark horse team to watch too, though. They're having a good season.
Think they'll do shit, but they're
I'd like to see them in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, definitely. I always ever since Nash, man.
Yeah. Devin Booker's a good player. Want to see Memphis in there, John Morant again, but yeah. So we've had 2 COVID shortened seasons now. Last season, obviously, and 2021 season started late. Do you think that this is actually going to stick, the shortened seasons?
No, just because of the profit margin, how expanded it would be. I think if Adam Silver had his way, yes. If the players had their way, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's on the players more, right? They've been advocating this for a while, mostly for the load management reasons, right? All the greatest players are taking 10 to 15 games off a season anyways.
Right, even as a fan, I would not mind a shorter season. Honestly, that I want to get to playoff basketball as fast as possible.
And I think the teams in the league, they're the ones fighting back mostly because, like you said, the TV contracts, more games equals more money, with TV contracts and stadium contracts. But I think we have 2 actual use cases for it now, and I'm sure the NBA has been finding creative ways to make up that lost revenue from less games. And maybe now the Players Union has a little bit more backing for their case to keep these shortened seasons. They go, look, it worked in the last 2 seasons. We're still making ass loads of money. We can do this. We can do that. We can put more fucking logos on our jersey. Who gives a shit? There's ways to make money in this and only play 70 games.
Well, and it's only going to get better. I think this forced a revolution of the NBA. So, I mean, eventually it's going to point to, it's going to lead to a shorter season. It has to. These men just can't. It doesn't hold up because what puts ass in the seats when it opens back up? Star players. And they're not going to fucking, I think if you have
Kawhi Leonard
schedules,
on that Toronto run, didn't he sit 30 games that season all for load management?
Something like that. But I mean, if you release that ahead of time, hey, Kawhi Leonard is just not going to be at this game, or not going to be at this game, not really going to play at this game, or
people are gonna sell their tickets real quick. People aren't gonna want to show up.
Right, and then people like me who would, I enjoy going to basketball games. I'm not paying a lot of money. Just not going to do it, man. But I would probably go to something like that.
Yeah, I'm cool with it as long as they cut off the beginning of the season, so I'm not missing out on a bunch when, I don't start watching till after the NFL season. It would suck that, okay, NFL season ends and now we're a week out from the playoffs. I need them to cut September off, right? September and early October. Let's start at Halloween and just go through. I mean, they started at Christmas this year. I don't think anyone's missed anything from it.
No, not at all.
So Adam Silver, we know you're listening. Hit us up on Patreon, shit. But also, seriously think about these shortened seasons.
I would enjoy it as a fan.
Yeah. You got anything else to say about small forwards or the NBA season?
I don't. I've talked more about them this evening than I think I have in years.
So there we go. Shout out all of these people we talked about, and everybody listening. Thank you for listening. We have got the merch store up over at TeePublic that we mentioned earlier. We actually don't have a Patreon page anymore, but if Adam Silver wants to give us money, there's ways. We'll get in touch, Adam. Don't worry
just
about
email
that.
me, dog.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We
also have launched a podcast about a podcast about something, newsletter. A newsletter about something. The first one will go out February 21st. So you got to get on that mailing list. The link is in the description. There will be giveaways every quarter. So March, we're giving away something. June, we're giving away something. September, we're giving away something. December, we're giving away something. And the only way to win these things is to be subscribed to the newsletter. So get on it. Links in the comments. It'll say newsletter with a little link. You just click that, put in your email address, boom, you're done. Nick did it earlier today. He's not eligible to win the prizes, but he's still on the newsletter.
Damn it. It took about literally 7 seconds.
Yeah, you do it on your phone.
Especially if I have an iPhone. Right.
It's real easy, so do that. While you're at it, also leave a review on iTunes or wherever the hell you're listening. Thanks, as always, to those cats for all the music for a podcast about something.
You gotta stay sassy.
Stay classy.